Welcome to Your Health Today with Charlie Rouse. In our program today, we'll talk about health issues that are important to you and your family and how products from the world of natural medicine can help us all stay strong, fit, and healthy. And now, here's your host of Your Health Today, Chris Hall.
Well, welcome to Your Health Today with Dr. Charlie Rouse. I'm Chris Hall, your host. Good to have you with us today on our podcast. And Dr. Rouse, it's good to have you on your program today. You're looking well.
That's ditto. And, Chris and I go back. We go back a long ways, but we're thankful that the Lord has ordered our steps, and we're here to present good news to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Some years ago, we had the opportunity to do a daily show like this on an American Family Radio affiliate in South Georgia. A great success. We still get people asking us, hey, when are you guys going to go back on the radio, right? And
it was just like yesterday, but now everything's so modernized, it's the podcast.
Yeah, we didn't even know what podcasting was back in the day. Of course, nobody did. It's kind of a new kind of thing, of course. But it gives us the opportunity to do what we want to do, and that is to try to help people, especially in these weird days that we're in, to try to feel better, feel stronger, and to do it in a way that I think you and I can agree that God has planned for us as He has blessed us in the world with the things that we can take advantage of to give us good, strong health. And again, we'll have some contact information for everyone as we go along in the program. And we'd love to answer your questions, and we'll have ways that you can communicate with us. And Dr. Rouse would love to just talk with you about how you can stay strong and healthy in these days. And speaking of that, Dr. Rouse, 2020 has been a weird year. January 2020, I kind of turned the page in my own life. As I said, I retired, but not really. I've been more busy than ever. But God has blessed us, and I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to be back with you on this program. But tell me, how are you and your family doing in the weird year that 2020 is?
I will say, Chris, we are better than good, thanks to the Lord. And so I guess you can say Chris and Charlie are two peas in a pod.
Yeah.
We're on the podcast. And, anything that's green, if God made it, it's got to be good for you, because in the book of Psalms, Psalm 104, verse 14, God says, the herb is for the service of man.
Yeah.
And 2020 has been a year of unbelievable. People never had any idea what a COVID was.
Yeah.
But did you know, Chris, I've been working with the coronavirus for 25 years.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, 25 years ago.
Because this is COVID-19.
Yeah, this is COVID.
So I guess there's been 18 before it. I don't know.
I guess these little critters, they know how to mutate and things like that.
Right.
And so today we'll just talk about some very sensible and compassionate anti-COVID strategies,
right,
or anything that affects your health is going to be necessary to fight off the bugs and the flu and the viruses, whatever sort they are.
And as we record our podcast today, we get the news that the cases are increasing across the country, and we're getting the sounds of alert. And we're entering into the holidays, and we've just come out of the Thanksgiving holiday. And I know me and my family, we confined ourselves. We did travel, but we confined ourselves to our family's home. But you think about that now. When you leave the house, you think about, okay, let's get our mask, and let's get the hand sanitizer. And it's just so unusual. Who would have ever thought we'd be in this situation the way we are now in America? It's weird, isn't it?
Weird, really weird. In medicine, when it first came out, it was like, oh, look at this case or that case. And then they said, we're guesstimating that the COVID infection fatality rate could be as high as 3 to 6% of all the people who get it. But as the cases, COVID cases versus COVID infection, the COVID cases are just everywhere. It's as common as the common cold. It's as common as breathing in air. And everybody is environmentally going to be touched by a virus. But the good news is, Chris, that the COVID infection fatality has been found to be like 0.2%. That means that 99.8% who get it survive.
Right.
And why did they survive, but Mr. Joe didn't?
Right.
And it's all in their immune system.
How about that?
And if people have a healthy immune system, look here. How many friends do you know that say, well, I got the flu shot or a pneumonia shot or a shingle shot? They got a shot for everything, a vaccine for this and that.
Yeah.
And we've talked on the radio show numerous times that even a vaccine has no benefit unless the immune system is functioning.
Right.
So now we got people that are learning about vitamin D3 and zinc and vitamin C and vitamin E.
Yeah, I know.
They're all coming around.
So I guess in the dark cloud, you do have some silver linings here and there.
That you do.
Now we have of course, we're inviting questions, and you can communicate with Dr. Rouse at his email address. That's doctorrouse@att.net. Or you can call him. Dr. Rouse, you'd love for people to call you, wouldn't you?
We get a lot of calls from all over.
All over the country, and it's 229-436-0100. And Dr. Rouse would love to talk with you. If you don't get him, leave him a message. He'll get back with you. I can testify to that. He does that. And, of course, themedicineman.com. Now, you guys are working on a new website, new and updated website. We're excited about that, and look forward to that.
Holly, who is my number one employee out here, she answers the phone and takes care of the customers. And she does everything. But she said she's gifted at art. And I said, does art include building a website? She said, well, I never have, but I'm always available. And, we can do all things through Christ.
Yes, we can.
But he strengthens us. So
Amen.
Y'all pray for Holly that maybe our new website be up and running before you know it. And we'll spring it on our podcast viewers first thing.
Absolutely. And you're talking about Holly, and out there we're recording at the Medicine Man's Corner in Albany, Georgia. Beautiful store. I love this store. Anytime you folks pass by the medicine in Albany, Georgia, just ask anybody, where's the Medicine Man's Corner? And they'll direct you right here to Dr. Rouse. And he'd love to be able to talk with you. You're on Facebook, of course. Charles Rouse Jr., just kind of punch that in there. And you have a lot of good information on your Facebook page. And, of course, our podcast will be on your Facebook page and on your website as well. Well, let's get into a question. We have a question been communicated to us from Mark. And here's what Mark asked, and it's a good question to start with. He says, Dr. Rouse, what steps can we take to strengthen our immune system, and how can we be more proactive to protect ourselves from this virus? And, of course, that's what he says, this virus, and we know what he's talking about. So, Dr. Rouse, that's a great question. So, and a lot of people have that on their mind. So how can we do that? Make our immune system strong?
Usually what they first ask me, Chris, is, what are you taking, Dr. Charlie? Yeah. What are you taking, Dr. Charlie? Let me say this, that up front, the immune system is part of you because you are fearfully and wonderfully made by God.
Yeah.
And that immune system is always trying to make you a better, healthier person, even when cancer comes, even when infection comes, even when post-surgical intervention, all those things. So the immune system, very, very functional. No doubt that you've heard it before, you need to drink plenty of water. The body has to hydrate, your blood has to circulate, and your blood's made out of water, so give yourself more water. You say, how much water do I need to drink in a day? However many pounds you weigh, let's say you weigh 200 pounds, then you divide that by 2, and that's how many ounces of water your body would appreciate through the course of a waking day. So a 200-pounder actually needs 100 ounces of water. That's a lot of bottles between here and there, 6 or 7, 8 bottles of water. And then secondly, the immune system hates raw refined sugar. They say that just a teaspoonful of sugar will interfere with your white blood cells. That's the fighters for you.
Right.
It'll paralyze them or hinder about 50% of your white blood cells over the next course of, say, 2 to 3 hours. So,
wow.
Whoa. So if I go and overwhelm myself with too many sweets, then I function myself.
Yeah, you done gone to meddling now, ain't you?
And so people say, "But what do you do, Dr. Charlie?" Right. Well, moderation, sensibility. Right. But my number one nutrition, number one on my list, is a nutrition that most people can't spell and never heard of, right. And I call it glutathione. I learned about it 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. Glutathione is by far the most researched and the most influential nutrition for the immune system. What they found, Chris, in research was that glutathione is the only molecule that God allows to go into every cell of the human body.
Really?
It's the perfect detoxifier. And so even if your eyes are infected or your brain is infected or your heart or your liver, your lungs, your skin, wherever, glutathione can go in there and nibble up all the bad guys, right. And clean up all the gunk. And the next thing you know, anybody does well with glutathione. You can give it to the smallest child, to the oldest person. It will not interfere with any prescription medication. And I can't think of any physical ailment that glutathione doesn't.
Now, does it come naturally like in some fruit or vegetable or something like that? Or
it is always harvested from fruit or vegetables, but what we found in natural medicine was that the body just utilizes 3 specific amino acids to build its own glutathione. Right. So what we do now is we put in a capsule those 3 specific special glutathione enhancing nutritions, and walla.
How about that? Wow.
So before you leave today,
glutathione.
I got a free gift for you and your wife,
I'm
Eris.
ready.
We're gonna glutathione you.
I'm ready. Wow, that's exciting. So, as everyone is kind of anticipating Christmas and this kind of thing. Okay, you talked about sugar. And of course, we love to sugar up during the holidays. So what is there an alternative sweetener that you would suggest that you can use in cooking or in your coffee or something like that would not have the characteristics of sugar? Well, what about something natural that we can use as a sugar substitute?
That's a great question, Chris. And people, when they say sugar, people are very particular. They want it sweet, but they don't want it bitter.
Right.
Because some of these artificial sweeteners actually are not good for you. So let me give you 2 sweeteners, artificial sweeteners that you should never intake. Okay. And you look at your drinks or your desserts or whatever. I'm a big proponent against. I say never intake sucralose.
Oh boy.
Or aspartame. Yeah. So that goes after the yellow and the blue pack. I'm against that. And the pink pack, the saccharin.
Yeah.
And the reason for sucralose is that it's a chlorinated chloride.
Oh my goodness. So it's chlorine.
And that kills the good bacteria and messes with your liver. So people who imbibe in sucralose, I've always said that if somebody has a natural product, like a natural nutrition, and if they use sucralose in it, they're not concerned about your health. No, sir.
Really?
They're more concerned about your money.
Yeah. So that's Diet Cokes and Diet drinks.
Correct. That's a no-no.
Yeah.
That's a zero.
Well, aspartame is in all of that.
Oh, and before that, aspartame is formic acid, and that stuff can cause some real nasty neurological problems, like in the Gulf War syndrome. It was all aspartame related.
Oh my goodness.
But you asked the question, what can we sweeten with? And the answer is xylitol, Xylitol. It comes from a tree, the birch tree. That white bark on a birch tree. Mm-hmm. The bark of a birch tree provides the white crystalline natural C5 sugar. Cool. And diabetics do well with it. It does not raise your blood sugar. And it's teaspoon per teaspoon equivalent to just raw refined sugar, so it tastes as good. And, ooh, my goodness. So xylitol. And if you really need to cook with something or make your muffins or your cookies, go xylitol. If you got, if sweeteners or the things that, and especially if you're going to have a cup of coffee every day and sweeten it out, use xylitol.
Okay. Well, for me personally, I drink water and coffee. And that's about it. Every now and then I'll, do an unsweetened tea or anything, because you've had an influence on me years ago when we talked about aspartame from the carpet industry, a byproduct. I never forgot that.
You remember well.
I remember that.
That's exactly where it came from, right out of Dalton, Georgia, a byproduct of the carpet industry.
So if you want to sweeten up something, here's some carpet stuff for you. All right, Dr. Rouse, good stuff, and we'll have some more. But we're going to take a break right now, and we'll be right back.
Your Health Today with Dr. Charlie Rouse. We'll be right back.
Who is Dr. Charlie Rouse? Dr. Rouse is a pharmacist with a degree from the University of Georgia College of Pharmacy. He is an expert in the world of natural medicine. He is the founder and owner of the Medicine Man's Corner, a business which specializes in pharmaceutical-grade nutritional vitamins, natural products, and more. Dr. Rouse is a natural product formulator, writer, author, lecturer, and radio and TV personality. Dr. Rouse is a husband and father. He is also a Christian who really cares about helping people. For more information on the many products Dr. Rouse has to offer, visit his website, themedicineman.com. You can contact Dr. Rouse through his website, or you can email him at drrouse@att.net. That's DOCTORROUSE@att.net. Or you can call Dr. Rouse at 229-436-0100 to set up a confidential professional healthcare consultation in person, over the phone, or on the internet. Dr. Rouse would love to hear from you.
Here's Chris Hall, host of Your Health Today with the Medicine Man, Dr. Charlie Rouse.
Dr. Rouse, what's good for bone health?
For women, the biggest threat to bone health is osteoporosis. That's a condition in which the bones lose their supporting tissue as well as their mineral content. Osteoporosis affects better than 20 million women in the United States, and a woman can reduce the risk of osteoporosis by engaging in regular exercise, not smoking, drinking less soda pops, and getting with supplementation. Certainly we know about calcium and vitamin D, but the most important nutrition for the bone is iproflavone, ipriflavone. Iproflavone. It's a natural for bone density.
His website is themedicineman.com.
Welcome back to Your Health Today with Dr. Charlie Rouse.
All right. And Dr. Rouse, I know you always have something on your heart and mind that you particularly want to talk about. What about today? What's kind of stirring around in your mind when we talk about what we're talking about today?
A lot of people, Chris, they ask me, well, what in the world got you away from the pharmacy counter into natural medicine? And I said, well, people may not know it, but in the drugstore or the pharmacy, these pharmacists, they stand up about 8 hours a day. Have you ever tried working standing up?
I know.
And they may be a stool in the vicinity, but you don't get to sit on it because it's zip, 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 zip. And over the 25 years of owning my own pharmacy and standing up and working 8 and 10 hours a day, varicose veins, my legs started aching and burning, and I guess whatever was down in the veins sort of matriculated and flowed up in the circulation, and when it hit my head, it was like it was discombobulated. And so I asked my doctor, I said, what do you think? Do I need to take something for my burning legs? And he said, I'll give you a little ibuprofen, something like a Motrin. And I said, have you read the PDR lately, doctor? PDR, physician desk reference. I said, do you see in the PDR it says ibuprofen causes cartilage degeneration? I said, you see what you're going to make me do? I'm going to take a pill for my pain, but yet I'm going to give myself a need for knee replacement, hip replacement, back. I said, is it medicine if I take this for that? does that give me this?
Right.
He shook his head and he said, yep, you're right.
So like whack-a-mole, isn't it? You help
whack-a-mole.
one thing and then you hurt something
And there
else.
you go. So when in doubt, what are we as Christians going to do first and foremost? We're going to beseech the Lord. We're going to pray.
Right.
And Brother Charlie was on his knees asking God, I've got a medical problem. I've created it. I'm trying to look after myself, work hard for my family. Should I take the ibuprofen? And in that same day, in the mail, here comes this little letter from France. Of all things, the Louis B. Pasteur Institute in France had sent a letter to the drugstore, the pharmacy, and on the front it said, hot new research on varicose veins. I said, well, maybe inside this letter is something to me. And inside it, they were doing research in France on the grape seed. Over there, see, the industry is wine. Wine.
Right.
Grapes. But they were throwing away all the grape seeds.
Yeah.
They had no need for the seed.
Yeah.
But this Christian who was in the research in France, he had read in Genesis 1, verse 29, that God says the seed of the herb. And he said, Lord, if it's that good, let me research it. So he started taking all those little seeds from the grape and he started going inside to see what was there. And God put procyanidins and resveratrol and vitamin C and all the stuff was in the seed.
How about that?
And he said, well, let's just grind this stuff up. And he did. And I got hold of it and I took it. And 40 years later, I'm still in remission. My varicose veins have cleared up. My headaches have gone away. And I said, Lord, the herb is for the service of man. The seed is your creation. And so I started getting grape seeds. And over here at the Polk Vineyards in Georgia, they grow these beautiful muscadine grapes, and we were getting the juice, the skin, and the seed, and we were putting it inside a capsule. We would dry it up and put it inside a capsule, and it worked so well. It made me feel 10 years younger, light years smarter, a whole lot more energetic. Yeah. And I said, what are we going to name it? And we call it Charlie's Choice.
Charlie's Choice.
So there you go. That's how I came in the back door. Yeah. On my knees in prayer, and God showed me the front door. He says in the Bible, call unto me and I'll show you great and mighty things which thou knowest not.
Right.
And I had no idea, but God did. And to this day, that one nutrition spun me off into hundreds of different formulas. And here you and I are, Chris and Charlie, back on the podcast, telling the world God has the answer just for you.
And you've helped literally thousands and thousands and thousands of people connect with, Charlie's Choice and other products that really have, in a natural way. We used to say I used to say on the podcast, all right, the pharmacist has all this medicine on the shelf that's been produced by man in the laboratory, but God has put on the shelf of creation all of the things we need to make us healthy and strong. Now, we're not going to live forever, but you want your years to be quality years, and if you can help in some way, taking advantage of what God has provided to help you to stay strong and healthy and active and viable and able to think and talk and communicate, why not take advantage of it? Natural products are just really something people really need to look at if they have not been doing it, right?
I totally agree with that, Chris, because in the creation, the Creator definitely has put everything that your human body will need, and many of the prescription drugs are trying to mimic or copy or to look at what God created to start with. Unfortunately, they isolate chemicals, and then that brings on toxicity. But the one tenet, the one important rule to remember in natural medicine, do no harm.
Yeah, do no harm. All right, if you have a question for Dr. Rouse, you can call him at 229-436-0100, and he'll be happy to talk with you, or you can email him at drrouse@att.net. That's DOCTORROUSE at att.net. Or you can jump on the Facebook That's what I hear people call the Facebook. You can jump on the Facebook and send Dr. Rouse, go to his page and ask him a question, send him a message, and he'll be happy to communicate with you. All right, Dr. Rouse, our last question of today, it comes from a lady by the name of Wendy from Ohio. And here's her question. She says, Dr. Rouse, my mother believes in taking your fish oil product. She knows it is good for her, but she's a little fuzzy on exactly what fish oil does for a person. In other words, she just knows it's good. She don't know why it's good. So what does fish oil do for someone and for all ages?
And they look on that bottle and it says omega number 3, and they say, well, what's that? Actuality is that all of your the membranes of your nerves and your blood vessels, so all of your brain cells, everything, your eyes, everything is membrane with the omega-3.
Okay.
So whether you get it in a flaxseed, a vegetable, or a fish oil,
right,
go for it. Me personally, I look at all the different millions of different fish oils on the market, and I said, well, why is this one bragging about his being better than hers and whatsoever?
Right.
And my friend Terry Limron, who years ago took me under his wings and let me lecture for him nationally with some of his medical teams, and I learned a lot from Terry. Terry taught me, he said, in fish oil, there's one fish oil that's just better than all the rest because they use a process of fixing it called vectomization. Now that's just a fancy medical chemistry term, and so they named the product Vectomega, okay, like omega,
right,
Vectomega. And one little tablet of that fish oil would be the equivalent of me swallowing 9 big old fish oil capsules.
Okay.
So when
Very
Dr. Charlie looked at Vectomega and said, now I can swallow 1 instead of 9,
right,
and I get the benefit of 9 in 1,
yeah,
well, you don't have to knock me upside the head to tell me that the dollar value for me is in Vectomega.
yeah, sounds good. And no aftertaste with
No
that.
burp aftertaste.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
to answer our Ohioan question is that you want to take it because it protects your brain and it protects your blood vessels and especially protects your nerve fiber. There's people out there with medical conditions like multiple sclerosis who get crippled from neurological paralysis. You must have omega-3, and everybody will benefit from it because it'll make you sharper. It'll sharpen everything about your brain.
Wow. Good stuff. Well, Dr. Rouse, this has been the quickest 30 minutes I think I've ever had. It's so good to be back with you on our podcast, and we want to encourage everyone to please share. As you come across our podcast, whether it's on a podcast platform or on Facebook or on different social media platforms or on Dr. Rouse's website, please share it with everyone. We want this information out there, and we just want to encourage people to be strong and healthy during these days. Any closing comments for us as we wrap up this episode?
Well, Chris, I'm excited that the Lord has brought our steps in our ministry back together. I know you are a preacher and you preach the word. Right. Preach the word, brother.
Yes.
That's my word to you. And for all of our Christian brothers and sisters out there listening on this podcast, you're a valuable tool. And Chris and I covet your prayers because our ministry is that we want to get this word out to the world.
Right.
And it's going to be a mammoth undertaking. But with your help, with you sharing this podcast with your friends or your family, we're out here to help you. We want to be a part of your ministry of health.
All right. Once again, the phone number for Dr. Rouse, 229-436-0100. And of course, we're kind of startup right now, in the startup mode with our podcast. But as the days go by, you'll have other opportunities to be able to contact Dr. Rouse, and we'll give you other avenues to do that as well. And we're looking at a video podcast, and we're just going to be out there because we love doing this. Well, Dr. Rouse, it's been great to be with you today, and we wish everyone to please stay safe out there and watch out for yourself, and we love you and thank God for His goodness and grace.
Thank you for joining us for our program today. You can reach Dr. Rouse online through his website, themedicineman.com, or you can email Dr. Rouse at drrouse@att.net. Dr. Rouse is also available by phone at 229-436-0100. Join us again next time for Your Health Today with Dr. Charlie Rouse. Until then, please stay safe and may God bless you.